Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review. Today, we have the Microtech L.U.D.T automatic. You guys really talked me into buying this. At least that's what I want to blame it on you. I've been doing more automatics lately, and everybody was just hammering me with, you got to try an L.U.D.T, you got to try an L.U.D.T, you have to. Well, I finally did, and yeah, you were right. This one is mine. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Pretty obvious by the purple. I'm kind of into the purple. It's matches the Slicey Dicey purple very well. So well, in fact, that's why this is on the gray background, because I put it on the purple one and it just disappears. So very happy about that. I did shop around a bit for one. They come in many different colors, many different configurations. You can get them partially serrated. You can get them in, black, red, all kinds of different colors. But I saw the purple one pop up with the stonewash blade. You can get them with a coated blade as well. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to go for it. And these aren't horribly expensive for what they are. They're not cheap. $238 in this non-coated blade and the stonewash. The coated blade ones are like $250. So really not hugely expensive, at least not as hugely expensive as I think people think Microtechs are. I think there's this misconception that they're horribly expensive knives. No, it's not that. It's just that they're not made in huge numbers. So sometimes they're a bit hard to find the one that you want. They come out in sort of just batches, which is why the blade steel isn't always exactly the same. It's usually currently 204P or M390. This one happens to be M390, but 204P is also fairly common if you look around, and one's been around for a little bit. It just depends on what steel they use at that time. It's always some sort of M390 variant, so it's always really good steel. It just changes a bit. Like I said, this is just the plain old, purple handles. The handles don't change on the L.U.D.T as far as composition. They're all just these aluminum with the grooves, but they come in different colors and whatnot. And they come in the same blade shape, serrated or non-serrated. I obviously chose the non-serrated, not a big fan of serrations. 6061 T6 aluminum. It does have the proprietary Microtech screws to prevent you from taking it apart. Not in love with that, but otherwise, just a really well-constructed knife. I don't feel a need to take this apart right now. It came really well put together, perfectly centered, all that stuff. The action is really good. I've had zero issues to want to take it apart. I just like to have that option if I want to. The L.U.D.T is actually one of Microtech's first knives that they ever made. It stands for Large Underwater Demolition Team. It used to come in a few different sizes. They just narrowed it down to just this one. It's gone through a few iterations over the years. It did go away for a while. It's been back for the last couple of years. And now that I have one, very glad to see it back. And we will talk about why in a moment. But first of all, let's do some specs and some size comparisons before we go too much farther. These are 1-inch squares on this background instead of the halvesies that are on the usual. You have an overall length of 8 inches, a blade length of 3.4 inches, blade length of 1.25 inches, handle thickness of 0.48 inches, and a weight of 3.62 ounces. So pretty light knife for an automatic. All right, bring out some of the usual size comparisons first. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So you can see just a little bit smaller than that. And the Para 3 Lightweight, just a little bit larger than that. And now we will do the full-size Benchmade Griptilian and the full-size Bug Out. You can see it's just kind of almost right between them. I guess a little bit closer to the grip, but not really dramatically larger than a Bug Out as far as the length goes. And then lastly, before we bring out some other of its more closely related brethren, I'll do the Ontario Rat Model 1 and Rat Model 2. Right, almost right smack dab between those two. Now to bring out some more autos here, first of all, we'll bring out a couple of Protechs, because this is an out-the-side auto, and Protech makes a lot of those. We have the Invictus, which you will see a review coming up shortly, and a little battle to the death between these two, because as you can see, very similarly sized, very similarly priced. Makes good sense to do that. And the Protech Newport, one of their more common models, quite a bit larger than the Newport. And how does this fit in with other Microtechs? Well, I only have 2 other ones, and I did a little thing about trying to build my perfect 3-knife Microtech collection, which I think I have for me. We have the UTX-85 OTF. You can see it's quite a bit larger than that, but also quite a bit smaller than the other one. And that would be the SOCOM Elite. I had to take that out of my very pocket today, so. All right. I just like to get a picture of those 3 together. Makes me happy. Now, let's talk about this knife. The blade on this thing. This is what everybody raved about, how slicey and amazing it was. Not something I often say about Microtechs. They're always really sharp and all that stuff, but like pure slicing performance isn't something I'm always expecting to see out of Microtech. This one, you get it in spades. Pretty thin blade stock, as I said, was 0.125 inches, only 15 thousandths behind the edge, and razor sharp out of the box. One of the best edges I've gotten out of the box in a while. But you can just see how it comes down to just that tiny little bevel, and man, it'll cut. It absolutely will slice like mad, and it's a very useful blade shape. There's kind of this modified sort of drop point blade. It's just a great slicer. This thing performs a lot better than I even expected it to. Even after all the stuff you guys said, I didn't expect it to perform as well as it does. It is just a terribly useful knife. I hope this purple stays pretty, because I really do like using this thing around the house. It's fantastic. As far as the ergos go, pretty good. Overall, almost great, but there's one little flaw we'll get to in a moment. But I do like where all the jimping is. Again, this underwater demolition team stuff, it's going to have a lot of jimping. I assume people use this wearing gloves and things like that, and it works great, though. It's very comfortable, except just one tiny little thing, and it is a minor little gripe, but they're proprietary screws. I can feel that top one right here in my palm. It's not like a dramatic hotspot, but I can definitely feel that it's there. I wish these were some kind of recessed screw, just so you didn't feel that. It did come with a lanyard. That did not even survive the unboxing video. I do not like lanyards, and the only way you can get it off really is to cut it off. It's like tied on there, so it got cut off during the unboxing video, and will never be seen again. But yeah, it normally does come with a lanyard, which might mitigate that a little bit, but I don't really think so. In my hands, I don't need a lanyard on this thing. I can see why you would, but it's not my jam. It fits my hands really well, other than just that one little screw. As far as the carry goes, not too bad. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. No deep carry clip. I don't really have a problem with that. You do have a little bit sticking out. In my case, you got a little bit of bright purple sticking out, but again, they come in a whole bunch of other colors. Easy to get your hand by, no flipper tab or anything. It's not too horrible that way. The pocket clip's okay. It's not like the best pocket clip in the world I've ever had, but it's all right. It does say Microtech on it, but it's such small wording. I don't think any human's going to read that. If they're reading that, they're looking at you too closely, and you should talk to them about social distancing. But yeah, it's an okay pocket clip, not the best thing in the world. It does slide in and out of the pocket very easily. No issues there. Makes a satisfying little ting every time you take it out of your pocket. I don't hate that. As far as the action goes, yeah, it's good. Microtech's much more known for their OTFs now, but listen to that. As I said, this is one of their first models they ever actually made. Great modernization thereof, but yeah, she bangs. It's got a really good kick to it. Feels very smooth on closing. Big fan of the action on this thing. Actually, it's purple, so my wife wanted to handle it, and she reached for it, and she goes, "Ooh, I want to see that." And she went to go. She knows enough to know what a button lock is, and she reached for the button. I said, "Make sure you have a hold of it." I just had this image of it flying across the room and getting scratched up or stabbing a cat or something. So yeah, make sure you got a hold of one of these things when you hit that fire button. They will go for sure. So what are my conclusions on this knife? Well, you guys encouraged me to get it. As I said up front, you were right. I should have gotten one sooner. This is a fantastic automatic. Again, like a lot of people, I just think of Microtech on OTFs, and the L.U.D.T. I thought was just kind of an oddity they made and didn't really know much about it. Didn't know it was one of the first knives that they ever made. And it is a very, very cool one. And this blade, this blade just blows me away. It's such a great slicer. I didn't talk much about before in the blade section. I forgot. And also, it's not dainty. It managed to be very thin and slicey without having a dainty, ridiculous tip on it. This is one of the best all-around blades of any knife that I own, automatic or not. Just an outstanding blade, a very, very useful tool. And like I said, I hope it stays pretty because I'm going to want to carry it a whole lot. All of my flaws with this knife are screw related. That's what she said. But it's the proprietary screws. I can't take it apart, and you can feel this top one, you know, if you're gripping on it really hard, at least in my, you know, large size hands. So there's that. Those are the only two little nitpicks I have. I think it's a very good value. I think Microtech overall provides a very good value, and this is honestly absolutely no exception to that. It's just, again, like I said, when you see them, you got to get them because they come in batches and they're gone quickly. A lot of Microtech enthusiasts out there that just collect every single color. Wish I had the funds to be able to do something like that, but yeah, there are guys out there who are going to snap up every unique color there are. I can't believe I found this purple one just sitting there available. It was very recently made. They have the little date on them, you know, March 2020. Some people don't like all the writing on the blade. Doesn't bother me a bit, but yeah, I like little birthdays, March 2020. So this is a very, very new one, but very glad I got my hands on it. And thank you guys again for pushing me to do so, for enabling me, as you often do. And hope you guys have enjoyed this review. You're going to see a lot more of this knife on this channel. Like I said, upcoming Battle to the Death, you know, with the Invictus, and it's purple. It's going to show up in videos because it looks cool. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.